Hello there and welcome along to Upping the Ante in association with 188bet with me, David Jennings, him, Gavin Lynch, and Chris Graham from our sponsors, 188bet.
Hi guys, hope you had a good weekend. The Dublin Racing Festival looked outstanding. I enjoyed watching it on TV and I hope we can touch on that on the show today.
Gavin, the Dublin Racing Festival, we were hoping it would live up to expectations and I think it just did.
Fantastic weekend, Dave. Great weekend to be a bloke with all that sport on. The highlights for me were definitely Johnny, Ed and Sam.
Johnny, Ed, who the hell are Johnny, Ed and Sam?
Johnny Sexton in Paris with the drop goal. Ed Wolf and Sam Crow.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Very good.
It was a great weekend to be a Johnny and Ed or a Sam. Now, obviously, we have to talk about the Dublin Racing Festival. It had huge implications for the Cheltenham Festival. All the markets were blown wide open in certain circumstances, and in other circumstances, some of the races are over and done with, if you're to believe the betting. Sam Crow, you've obviously got Footpad, and we'll come to them later on in the show. But before then, what we're going to talk about, I want your 5 best performances from the Dublin Racing Festival and 5 eye catchers from the Dublin Racing Festival. So we're going to start off with the 5 best performances. The best performance over the 2 days was?
Sure, it has to be Sam Crow, doesn't it?
Wow.
He's some horse, isn't
he? I get very drawn in by these horses, very drawn in. So to
We
me,
all
he's
do.
going to win 5 Gold Cups in a row. Like,
We all get drawn in.
how good is he?
The best novice hurdlers in the last 10 years have been Altior, Duvan, Faheen, Vautour, and he's already up at that grade, but obviously he has to go and win a Cheltenham to prove that. But
Yeah, and we all know Michael O'Leary hates hype, but he's going to have to get used to it, isn't he?
yeah, he's going to be odds on for a long time, I'd say.
And, you know, people are looking at the price at the moment and a shade of odds on. Is he worth backing at that price for the Ballymore?
He's probably going to be, say, 4 to 5 on the day, is he? Because generally in the mornings of the races, the bookmakers take on the punters. So if he's 4 to 7 coming into it, say, a few days before, and he might be 4 to 5 that morning. So I'd probably leave it.
And on that, we have a question for Chris from 188bet. Chris, what will the starting price of Sam Crow be in the Ballymore?
Well, wasn't Sam Crow absolutely outstanding yesterday? It was great as a racing fan just watching that, and I felt a bit stupid after trying to take him on last week, so I well and truly had egg on my face there. In terms of what price will go off on day 2 of the festival, interesting one. I've been looking back at some of the SPs from the previous big hot pots in recent years. Duvan won at 4 to win the Arkle a couple of years ago. Undesol was 4 to 6 to win that race the year before. Then Dunguib, probably the best comparison for me, 4 to 5 to win the Supreme in 2010, and then Denman 11 to 10 and 6 to 5 to win his novices race at the festival. Sam Crow for me 4 to 5 at the moment with us at 188bet to win the Ballymore, and for me it depends on what happens on day 1 as to what happens to his price. If Get a Bird wins the Supreme, Footpad wins the Arkle, Bouvier wins the Champion Hurdle, Apple's Jade wins the Mares, then my oh my, Sam Crow could be shot as 1 to 2 come post time on the opening day of day 2. But say 3 of those 4 get chinned on day 1, say they all get beat, which would be a massive shock, then I think bookmakers will head into day 2 feeling great about life and feeling great about themselves, and they'll be pushing the price of Sam Crow out, and he may even go off at 11 to 10, 5 to 4, you know, on the opening race of day 2. It's got to be fascinating, whatever price he is on the Wednesday of the festival.
5 to 4, Gavin. I wouldn't mind a bit of that 5 to 4 Sam Crow for the Ballymore. I think I'll be loving that the morning. On Wednesday morning of Cheltenham, 5 to 4 Sam Crow won't happen, will it?
I wouldn't discount the fact that he might go for the Supreme. I think that it's probably only 2s on for the Ballymore and say 6 to 4 for the Supreme, honestly, because the Supreme is a very fast run race every year. It suits a stayer, which he'd love. He'd love the fast run gallop, and if he goes for I think that himself and Get a Bird won't end up in the same race. I think one will go one way and one the other, and I think Next Destination now may go for the Bartlett.
Wow. On that bombshell,
That's
the
not a bombshell.
second most impressive performance from the Dublin Racing Festival?
I'd say it has to be Footpad, really. He's 3 for 3 now, isn't he? Since he went chasing, what is he now? Even money 4 to 5 for the Arkle, so he was fantastic. Slightly surprising that Petit Mouchoir didn't make the running, and in the Arkle at Cheltenham, it's going to be interesting. Petit Mouchoir usually does make the running, so I could see it'll be helter-skelter down to the first. They'll be going a million.
Will it be roles reversal then at Cheltenham?
It'll be interesting. The people who back So Royal will be praying that these two go down to the first together and take each other on. It's unlikely to happen, but Petit Mouchoir is the first time I've seen him not lead in a long time, so The tactics will be a huge part. I'd say it'll end up probably only 6 or 7 runners in that race.
And what about brain power?
Brain power. He's going for the cross country, I know.
Well, I have to say, did you read my report on Footpad in the Racing Post?
I didn't.
It was like equine ballet. That's
Yes,
what I said, because
very
he's
good.
so light on his feet.
You didn't do ballet anyway.
No, that was my attempt at ballet. Okay, so number 3, the third best performance at the Dublin Racing Festival was?
I'd say it has to be Min. He was very, very good.
That was
obviously.
Min at his max.
Very good. I see what you've done there.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that York Hill ran no race whatsoever. It's actually fantastic that the Irish Racing Integrity Body have investigated the betting patterns of York Hill and Mellon. I think it's great news. Great news.
Like York Hill, it was like Faugheen all over again.
Yeah, and Paul Townend said that he was gone after jumping 2 fences. They went up past the stands and he was beside Min. By the time they got to the second of the corner, he was 6 lengths behind him. He couldn't even go with him.
No.
And he's a better horse than that. Like.
Yeah, be like me running against you in a marathon.
Would you?
Yeah. And Min, like, we don't know how good Altior is. We might see him in the Game Spare Chase at Newbury this weekend. But at the moment, is he a realistic contender for Altior?
Yeah, she's only around 94, 5-2 for the Queen Mother. So he has to be a big danger to Altior, simply because we haven't seen Altior in so long. But obviously he's 7 lengths to make up from the Supreme from 2 years ago. So
Free bet now for the Queen Mother. Do you back Altior or Min?
I'd still think Altior, but you'll have to wait and see what he does next weekend.
Okay. Number 4?
4 has to be Monolith. Obviously he was a casualty at Christmas and got a kicking as well from Rathvinden. So the vibes for the last month were, would he make the Dublin Racing Festival? He did. He won by 3/4 of a length from invitation only and album photo. But
God, he was tough, wasn't he?
yeah, he looked beat nearly come to the last or even at the bend. But he jumped brilliant again. He loved the RSA, but you'd imagine he probably would improve for the next day.
Certainly so. And number 5, the 5th most impressive performance of the weekend?
Black Bow in the bumper.
What a gorgeous horse.
What a gorgeous horse, yeah. Like the improvement he has shown from Stephen's day, which wasn't a great performance, really. He looked beaten that day. But to beat Rhinestone with the two of them a long way clear of the rest was a fantastic effort.
And it's interesting that of the 5 best performances of the weekend, you haven't mentioned the Irish Gold Cup. Could you make head nor tail of it?
Well, I backed Kilolta Vic, so that was hard watching. But a fantastic story with Ed Wolfe, considering that he was down on the ground for half an hour at last year's Cheltenham. So, and it's amazing to think that Derek O'Connor, an amateur rider, we don't even think it's a great story because he's such a good jockey. You know?
Any chance in the Gold Cup, Ed Wolfe?
You'd imagine probably not, but it's still a great story.
And while we're on the Gold Cup team, Chris, what's the worst loser in 188 bets book for the Cheltenham Gold Cup?
Yeah, looking forward to the Gold Cup, and the one horse we do not want to win at this stage is Black Lion, who's 25-1 with us at the moment, 188 bet. He is our biggest loser at the moment. Of course, he won the Beecher Chase back in December, and there was sort of bits of money for him after that race. But it's been in the sort of 2 months since then. There's been a progressive wave of money for the Nigel Twiston Davis horse, and I think it's the fact that the Gold Cup's not really captures in terms of a true picture emanating from this race. Might Bite won the King George. Some say the form wasn't really that solid. A handicapper, if you like, definitely Ed won the Cotswold Chase at the end of January. And then yesterday, Ed Wolfe wins the Irish Gold Cup. Certainly a horse you wouldn't have put at the top of your list. So it looks a very open Gold Cup. And you know, we've seen consistent money for Black Lion now, 25-1. And when you look at his Cheltenham form, there's definitely reasons to be worried for us. I think he's 2-1-2-1 his form when he's completed at Cheltenham, and of course he won the RSA. Denman, Bobsworth, Lord Windermere won the RSA and went on to win the Gold Cup. So you know, we're not particularly really scared about this, but at the same time, there is a wee bit of cause for concern for Black Lion potentially winning the Gold Cup.
Don't worry, Chris. You don't need to be too concerned, because I don't think Black Lion is even going to run in the Gold Cup. So all that money is going to stay safely in 188 bets satchels. Black Lion for the Gold Cup?
Don't think so,
No. You're okay, Chris. You're okay. And my final question to you, Chris, is out of Sam Crow, Bouvardaire, Apples Jade and Altior, who is the biggest certainty?
Great question, this, guys. Who's the most bulletproof favourite at the festival? Sam Crow, Bouvardaire, Apples Jade or Altior? I've thought about this long and hard, actually. For me, forget about Altior, no way. 11-8, I just wouldn't back him at 11-8. He's got a lot to prove for me, and hopefully he runs on Saturday in Newbury, and we'll learn a bit more about him then. Sam Crow is wonderful and as outstanding he is. I think it's still a new game for him, and it's on the blind side looks a decent horse. So that's not as completely and utterly rock solid as these other two. I'm struggling trying to separate Apple's Jade and Bouvardere. Bouvardere is the worst champion hurdle in my lifetime watching horse racing, that's for sure. It's just you look down the list and there's negatives for every single horse. So Bouvardere, he won really. He won okay in Sandown, which is about racecourse gallop for him. Really, he's just 7 years old. He won it well last year. He was third in the Supreme. He's just got a great profile for this race. But then I think I'll go with Apple's Jade as the most bulletproof favourite at Cheltenham. It's really her Let's Dance in the mare's hurdle, and you think she's beaten Super Sunday this season at 3 miles. I think she's won like 6 of her last 7 races at 2.5 miles. She's just a great, brilliant mare who shouldn't be running in this race. We should be seeing her in perhaps a champion hurdle or even the stayers hurdle, but she's running the mare's hurdle, and she looks for me the most bulletproof favourite at the Cheltenham Festival 2018.
So there you go, Gavin. Apple's Jade is the biggest certainty of all the shorties at the Cheltenham Festival. Would you agree or disagree?
It's hard to oppose her, but I'd say even Bouvardere is a bigger certainty.
Yeah.
Considering the fine was so disappointing. To be beaten by a 3 miler at the weekend, sure, on that performance he can't beat Bouvardere.
Yeah, Bouvardere did what Bouvardere does in the Contenders Hurdle at Sandown on Saturday. And I'd agree with you, Gavin. It's very rare we agree on things.
It
but
is.
I think of all the 4 shorties at the Cheltenham Festival, I think Bouvardere is the most bulletproof. Okay, so we've heard about the 5 best performances at the Dublin Racing Festival. Now it's time to find out about the sneaky eye catchers, okay? So Gavin, who were the 5 biggest eye catchers at the Dublin Racing Festival? Number 1.
The first one wouldn't be so sneaky, but I thought Petite Mouchoir, we've already mentioned Footpad, but I thought it was a fantastic effort.
What a run.
Yeah, he'd been off so long. I don't know how he got over the first 2. He crashed through them and then he actually jumped quite well. But he stayed on very well in the last furlong. It'll be interesting, as we said, with the tactics. He loved the uphill finish. It's going to be interesting.
Well, it's funny, Davy Russell jumped off Petit Mouchoir, and I was the first person to speak to him, and I said, Davy, what did you make of Petit Mouchoir? Thinking he would be waxing lyrical. What a great run. He's been off for so long. Expecting him to be really positive. And he said straight out, deadpan, he said, I'm bitterly disappointed, he says. And why? And he said, well, we thought he was the best at the start of the season, and now it looks like there's one better than him. I thought that was a really interesting quote from Davy. Seemed to suggest that he doesn't think that form with Footpad can be turned around, but you think they will certainly get closer?
Yeah, I'd say it'll definitely get closer, but Footpad will still be hard to beat, won't he?
Certainly will. Gavin, your second biggest eye catcher from the weekend?
It's actually 2 from the same race. It's Patrick's Park and Tully East. Tully East, the horse that you love and you've tipped up.
Yeah, I love Tully East. Brown advisory plate cannot come quick enough.
Yeah, so Tully East will love the step up and trip from the 2-1 to 2.5, and he'll also much prefer the better ground that he won on last year in the Close Brothers. It'll be very interesting to watch Dennis O'Regan. It's harder to ride a hold-up horse than the new course, I would say, than I haven't ridden a horse than the new course or the old course, but there's a shorter run-in from when you turn in on the old course, which the Close Brothers was last year. This year is the new one, so it'll be harder for Dennis, but still he's a great chance.
Okay, and so among your 5 biggest eye catchers is a winner? Patrick Back, yeah.
Yeah,
that's very dark and nobody's thought that, yeah.
But at the same time, he's not even listed in the betting for the Brown advisory plate yet.
Okay,
He only
that's allowed, so.
He won off 123. He'd probably get say 8 or 9 for that, low 130s. He'll then get a few more for going to the UK. So if he gets off 135, maybe he might get in. He's a brilliant jumper and he'll love the step up and trip.
Okay, number 4.
4 and 5 are actually in the same race again, and they finished first and second. Is Off You Go, one of my favourite horses.
Oh, Gavin, hold on. Now, in fairness, viewers, anybody that watched for the last few weeks will know that Gavin has been constantly talking about Off You Go and tipping him up to win at the Cheltenham Festival when he was only rated what?
He was 123 going into Leopardstown.
Yeah.
So to win the Coral Hurdle it's a huge effort for a horse that's only ran, I think, was it 5-6 times. Limerick his only second handicap was a small field, so to go and win a Coral Hurdle was a big ask. So he'll come on hugely for that in terms of experience, and he actually got a very good ride too.
Where do you think he'll go with Cheltenham?
I'd say he'll definitely go to the Martin Pipe. And he probably should get in. He won off 123. He'll probably get maybe 8 or 9 for that, low 130s again, get a few more. He needs 134 probably to get in.
He should be safe enough.
Yeah, and Deal d'Estraval might be a sneaky one for the same race because he won off the high 120s. He won a maiden hurdle in Tremor over 2.5, so he will love to step up.
It's funny how this Tremor form is coming into Cheltenham fold, because we've got Lorena and we've got Deal Destraval. Don't be trying to steal my tongue.
Sorry. But LA Tricks winning yesterday was a huge plus for Lorena as well.
Yes, and you were very sweet on LA Tricks, weren't you?
Yeah, we tipped on the Friday thing with
You
Patrick.
did, yeah.
But LA Tricks won by 7 or 8 lengths, so she was very good.
Okay, so there are Gavin's 5 biggest eye catchers from the Dublin Racing Festival, and now it's time for the most important part of the show. It is Gavin's latest anti-post tip for the Cheltenham Festival. Gavin, we'll have a quick look as always, and you can, I suppose, revel in your brilliant anti-post tipping.
Well, he ran yesterday, even though he was beaten, I think, 51 lengths. Don't let that worry you, because that's quite normal for causes in the depths of winter. It's only when he gets to the springtime that he really
likes a bit of sunshine.
He does, yeah.
Okay.
Don't we all? Esper Dallin ran terribly yesterday. The vibes were mixed, I think, before the race yesterday up at Leopardstown, but I could see him possibly going in the Fred Winter, the handicap hurdle. The reason is that Machuca, who he's beaten twice, got a very low rate, and I thought of 135, so they can only give him maybe 140. And if he gets in not carrying top weight, or even if he does, he'd have a chance in a Fred Winter.
Okay, so we want to just scribble that out. If we had an eraser now and just put in Fred Winter.
He might go that race.
Footpad 5 to 1. You take that now?
You would. Cracking smart on the so holographic. It was a bit of a worry that holographic didn't show up at Leopardstown, and I think Black Bow was his biggest danger. Okay. A stable companion.
Scoator for the Kimmuir?
Yeah, I was going to say this to you as well, that Scoator ran in December, beating 13 lengths in a good race in Fairuse over 2 miles, which is the wrong trip. He then was third in the Paddy Power. At the weekend there, he ran Leopardstown, and he was beaten 60 lengths. And the bookmakers haven't changed his price. I can't understand it.
60 lengths?
Yeah, he's 6 to 1 generally, 11 to 2 with Paddy Power. That horse should be 8 or 10 to 1 again. Like, he ran terribly, to be honest.
He did. And for viewers watching, they might be saying, you know, the Kimmuir is over 3 miles and 2 furlongs over the Gold Cup trip, and they'd be saying, what on earth is Scoator run over such a short trip for? What would your answer to them be?
I'd say that last year he fell in the race, and his jumping over fences has never been amazing. So I'd say they were probably just trying to give more experience in a competitive race. But he didn't run well yesterday, so his price should be higher.
Good answer, Gavin.
Fountains Windfall, Tiger Roll has a massive chance, and obviously Lorena has a good chance.
So out of all these, which is the one you're happiest with?
I suppose Footpad, Lorena. I'd still think Cause is a great chance, even though he was beaten 50
You're
lengths
back
yesterday.
over them all there, so that's a good sign. And a quick look at my own anti-post selections. Not quite as good as yours. Brain Power obviously has had a wind operation. Won't be good enough to win the Arkle. We'll forget about that. Presenting Percy, I hope, is a good chance. Maria's Benefit, obviously, is Lorena to beat. Tully East at 16 to 1 for the Brown Advisory Plate. I think we could be taking the 1 off that, because he's got a cracking chance.
He's the one you're most sweet on, I'd say, is he?
No, I am really sweet on Don't Touch It in the Grand Annual.
Okay.
Fell unseated rider at the weekend.
Yes.
I just think everything is in place for Don't Touch It to basically come into his own. He's a spring horse. I think he loved the ground, and the son of Scorpion is my idea of the Grand Annual winner. So moving on to this week, Gavin, your latest anti-post selection for the Cheltenham Festival is
my favourite horse in training, Off You Go, that we mentioned earlier. I couldn't tip it up before now because he had too low of a rating to. If he didn't win the Coral Hurdle,
is this right? He's 25 to 1 for the Martin Pipe.
He is. That's anti-post. He's 10 to 1 non-runner, no bet. So you have a choice.
And what would your choice be of those two?
Bit of both. I'd always be greedy. But I backed him on Saturday, so I'm going to spend some of that definitely on him. I love the horse. I think he's very unexposed. If he gets in off a low weight. One thing to mention is Donny McInerney, that rode him at Christmas in Limerick. He actually rode in Leopardstown in the first race, dashed down to Limerick to ride him. So that was a bit of a pointer. And Donny McInerney could ride him again in the... And
he would be one of the best jockeys in the race in the Martin Pipe. He's quite a good conditional, isn't he?
And sure, Charles is a genius. I was saying to you earlier, if Off You Go wins, we must set up a syndicate and give Charles a horse, maybe.
I would only love to give Charles Burns a horse. That man is a genius.
Genius, yeah.
And there you go, folks. So 25 to 1, Off You Go for the Martin Pipe Handicap Hurdle. I think that price could diminish very quickly after viewers see this. And my selection is also a horse owned by JP McManus, and it's not even quoted yet.
Okay.
It is for the Close Brothers Novices Handicap Chase at the Cheltenham Festival on day 1, and is a horse called No Comment. And I will be making plenty of comments on this horse because this was his first run of the season. He ran in the Grade 1 Scilly Isles Novice Chase, finished third, made a really bad mistake at the second last. He was rated 145 over hurdles. He jumped brilliantly for a horse that was making his debut over fences in a Grade 1. It's not very Philip Hobbs-like, I don't think at all. And I just think, given that the Close Brothers race is 0 to 145 now, he was 145 over hurdles, he can't be any higher than that. I think he'll probably get a mark of between 135 and 140, maybe a little bit higher. I'd like to see him out again, but I really liked his jumping. He's a touch of class. He beat Manila Wards, giving Manila Wards £10 at Plumpton last year. Manila Wards is rated 145 over hurdles.
Back to him at Cheltenham, he was a decent hurdler, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a decent hurdler, ran well at the Punchestown Festival. I just think the Close Brothers Novice Handicap Chase could be the race for no comment. He's no price yet though, so not only is he no comment, but he's no price. But keep an eye out to see when no comment gets priced up for the Close Brothers Novice Handicap Chase. So that's it for this week, folks. We're edging ever closer. How long to go now, Gavin?
5 weeks tomorrow.
5 weeks tomorrow till the Cheltenham Festival 2018. He's been Gavin Lynch. I've been David Jennings. Thanks for watching.